what's going on, LGFA? Bryson 66 here, your commissioner, your media guy, bringing you the Season 6 bidding show. I've got along with me Respect My DMR and Bottomless Pit, the Players Association, and two of our media members. How are you two gentlemen doing this evening?
Doing awesome. Excited.
Excited. I agree with you. That's a good word to use. How about yourself there, Respect? I believe we're having some technical difficulties already. That's unfortunate. No matter, the show must go on. Pitt, please check that. Make sure he's in the conversation. Welcome to the Season 6 LGFA bidding show. We're going to go over a few things before bidding. I know we've got 27 minutes till the start at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to...
I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. How are you doing this evening?
I'm alright, man.
All right.
What's going on, everybody?
Okay. We're going to go over just a few things over through the show. Basically how to sign up. We're having some playback from someone else on my call here. I do apologize, guys, if one of you guys could fix that. We're going to show you guys how to sign up. You're going to go to the front page of LG, and right to the right of the chat box. This is on a web browser. To the right here, it would say sign up. We'll show you through the LGHL here. Agree to the quitting policy. You pick your position, comments, sign up. Simple. Do it now because you've only got 26 minutes before Season 6 bidding is underway. Pitt, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
All right. Would you like to give the community an idea of what to expect from our Players Association this season?
Well, we've got a pretty important mandate, I'd call it, compared to other seasons, and there's a couple of things that we're really focusing on that I think play a vital role in seeing some of the changes and improvements that everybody's looking for. So that includes keeping the training camp active, also trying to help out in helping the inactive training camp move along when it's needed. So sometimes I know owners have a little bit of trouble in identifying when that happens, and the training camp games is part of what's helping us facilitate with all of that.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you and I got together this season, Pitt, because you and I both have the same vision for the training camp players. And the problem that we've seen in the past is we've seen a lot of inactive training camp players. A lot of players just sit down there and rot all season. Well, the ruling here is that if you're signing up to play, not just come in and sit the bench and play whenever you're needed. So we're going to try and get the community active this season, and I think, Pitt, you're the right guy for the job, and I think we're going to see a good result from it.
Yep. The more people we get active in this community, the better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more with you.
I just want to take the moment, might as well, to mention I've got a couple of guys helping me out with this. I think they're fairly well known and are familiar with all the tools and the game and whatnot. So look for them to be involved as well. But that includes King Neymar and Johnny Cube 20.
Yeah, those are two good members of the community, and I think that if you have time this season, any time at all, any time to give, please give it to us, and it would go such a long way for your help. And sorry, I broke up there. We definitely need as much help as we can get. So if you're interested at all, just do not hesitate messaging Pitt or myself for a position on the PA. So we're gonna look at the rosters here. Over the owners. I know last season was not what we expected or not what we hoped. And one thing that before Pitt came in as a players association is he asked me what were my course of action before next season to ensure that we won't have the same result as last season with owners dropping, forfeits, just things that make this league not where we want it to be. And I think I really do enjoy the group of owners we have this season. And I probably said that last season, and I feel that way every season. I like to be skeptical and I like to be hopeful. But this season especially, I think we have a lot of veteran owners. And with the new guys that we do have, I think we have enthusiastic owners. And I think that's pretty important when it comes to being an owner. You gotta love doing it, because if you don't, it's not gonna be fun. Plain and simple. You gotta enjoy doing it, or why are you here then?
Yeah. For that, you might as well just go find something else to do if you're not gonna have fun doing this.
I completely agree with you on that. Couple notes on returning owners, just to give them a mention. We have Marchenko, who took over Southampton last season and kind of just cleaned up the team of the inactives and did a fine job and wanted to come back and run a team for a season, and it's good to have him back. Mamba, the White Mamba on Liverpool, he took over Norwich last season and fielded 11 actually he did every game, I'm almost certain, and did a nice job of that as well. Chrysalia, another owner that picked up mid-season and decided to come back for another go. Mac A was the owner of Bournemouth last season. Again, another name that picked up the fallen pieces in Bournemouth, and the team actually climbed up the standings very well last season, and he did a fine job in that area. And last, and certainly not least, D. Stokes, who ran Stoke City last season and now decided to take the West Ham kids, leave his name behind.
It's going to be interesting to see what these new owners and old owners bring to the table this season, man. It's looking to be a real good league.
Yeah, I think when you talk about... Oh, and Python. I forgot to mention you, Python. How could I?
There you go.
Oh, my goodness. Sorry, buddy. But for new owners, it's not necessarily they're new. So let's start at the bottom. Dusan Double D has been around for quite some time. Decided to take a shot at ownership this season and see how he does. He's got great management behind him, so look for that team to do very well this season. Lang on Tottenham. He's been a part of the FIFA community before and has done staff work on other websites. So it's good to see him back in it again, and glad to have him part of the team. Belfour on Sunderland is a new face as well. We did have Samatar, and unfortunately he decided that it was just something that wasn't for him this season, and it's a good thing he decided before bidding. It's very very good thing to know. McCullough, running Newcastle this season. He was a part of Chelsea, I believe, Man City. He was a part of Man City last season with Casey. And, wow. Other new owners, we have G-Men. G-Men bringing in some veteran, you got a lot of background on them. For Everton, we've got G-Men bringing in some veteran management behind him as well. I'd like to see how that team does. Then you have Soccer SM10 on Leicester, who was a player on Arsenal last season and decided to pick up Texas Tenants' ownership spot and carry that roster over to Leicester for this season.
Yeah.
And then we have Express the Boss, a new face in the FIFA community, but a guy I fully trust in taking this spot. Definitely a positive attitude and something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. He seems motivated, and he seems like he wants to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. He was. I interviewed every owner, besides our returning, because our returning owners obviously deserve a spot due to their prior commitment. And his interview was the most enlightening and the most promising. I enjoyed talking with him, and he definitely wants to do this and is definitely excited to do this. So I'm excited to see how he does. And then Crystal Palace's owner is Creepy Klepto. He was with Southampton last season with Bachelor. and decided to take his own team. He's got a solid management duo behind him as well. So another team to I have high expectations for this season.
It's going to be interesting to see how these teams in bidding fill out the more like incomplete rosters right now. Like you see, like a Leicester or a Newcastle pretty much has a stack of returning guys. I want to see how these not so like complete teams like a Manchester City and an Arsenal and an Everton, they come and they fill out their teams. I want to see how this comes out, man. It's looking really well. It's looking like it's going to be a really good bidding.
Absolutely. The only issue that of course we got to bring this to light as a community, but one problem that we did see in the bidding list, and I've been keeping a close eye on, is that the lack of goalies and defenders. Defenders, actually, I just looked at. It's not too bad, but you can never have enough defenders, and the other big issue is goalie. I think we said we were looking at, it looks like about maybe 15 goalies, and with 14 teams, it's going to be slim pickings.
Wow.
So, one thing that the reason why we have no position lock here is mainly because we want everyone to field with 11, but we also want to make sure that players aren't trying to cheat the system by signing up as a forward or a mid and going to their friend's team. So.
If you want to answer, we have a question from a George Figueroa, and he's asking, what do we think about Liverpool up and coming this season?
Liverpool. Liverpool is, last season, when I appointed Mamba ownership, I'm going to be completely honest with the community right now. We were desperate at the time. We really needed an owner, and he took the reins and he took it by storm. He did a phenomenal job. I applaud him. He did a great job. As much as Mamba and I bash each other all the time, he did a very good job getting an active team together. One thing I really enjoyed about Liverpool is I think they were the most active in the offseason as far as scouting. So I think look for Liverpool to get those 500K or low million gems that some of the owners didn't do scouting for.
And now we have another question from Dave999. I think this is Neymar. He's asking, what do you guys think about Leicester and Neymar, the legend?
Well, Neymar's pretty irrelevant, but it's a good thing they got late because he will carry that team to the victory.
Oh, man. You hear that, Neymar? That's a challenge, bud. You got to step up now.
I hate everyone on Leicester. Those guys, they always have a good team, and they always give me, not me, but any team I'm on, a hard time. So definitely a team that's a favorite early before bidding even begins, just based on the management duo, let alone the returning players on their roster.
Right. Yeah, man, from what I heard, this team was very, the core guys in this roster were very solid last season. And I'm interested to see what they do again in this upcoming season. I hear they're the returning FA Cup champs.
They are.
And, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys do. We have a question from a Steven Glansberg asking, who's the top defenders to bid from?
Top players to bid from? Wow, it sounds... Is that another owner asking for my opinion?
I don't know. I don't know if he's an owner, but he's asking who's the top defenders. I think, actually, no, he's a guy who's looking to sign up now.
Oh, good. Come sign up, man. That'd be awesome. Top defender. I was actually going to bring back to your comment about how Arsenal, Leicester, that core group of guys has been dominant, and it honestly starts with Lake. And Lake and I have had our differences, but there's no doubt about it what that man can do on a pitch, and he's pretty remarkable. From a guy that I've known from hockey for so long, I
Right.
I've always been a part of FIFA. I've always been for a long time, longer than hockey. And when I saw Lake start playing, getting into FIFA, into leagues, I thought, he's probably okay. He plays center back, so we'll see. And the first time I ever played against him, I'm like, are you kidding me? He's, no matter what position he's playing, he's going to be in your
Yeah.
face. You could be on the right wing, and he could be the left back, and he'll still find a way to be in your face, get the ball from you, and do good things for his team.
Yeah. Let's see what else here. They want to know top defenders in the bidding list is they want to know, and what else do we have here? We have Neymar's gonna get shut down by the real legendary Fig. All right, so we got some trash talk going in the chat.
Hey, that's the best part about it.
Yep. Have you looked at the draft list in terms of defenders? Do you notice anybody catching your eye?
Yeah, a few actually. And the thing is we see a lot of new faces on defense, but couple to keep an eye on would be Five Naked Ninjas, part of the Arsenal crew last season, won them a title, helped them win a title. Like Pitt mentioned, Johnny Cube, previous owner, now is helping out with the PA. Siri is a owner from last season. He was the owner of Chelsea, and he does note here that he'd be able to help out management-wise if needed. So for new managers, this is a great guy to pick up. He definitely did a pretty good job of, and he was a new owner, like never did this before. Came in, and I feel he did a very good job.
Right.
As for other players, there's a lot of new faces. I honestly think that your highest player is going to be Venti Fire. He was last season, and I'm sure he's going to be again.
Right. Yeah, man. From those names you lift off, yeah, man, there's a lot of new and good defenders out there. Owners, you have a lot of options out there for defender. Chris Proston. I'm sorry there, buddy. I didn't mean to mess up your name. They want to know who's the top strikers in the league. They want to know our opinion on the top strikers in LGFA.
Top strikers. Well, here's the thing: is a lot of people that sign up as forward and think they're the top forward. And
right.
I want to say to those guys that sign up as a forward and don't get picked up that it's a team sport, and that until you actually play with someone that's better than you, you're always going to think you're the best forward to ever pick up a controller. So one thing I will say to those guys that don't get picked up, venture to other positions. Forward's fun,
yeah.
But I can promise you all other 10 positions are just as fun, besides striker. So, as far as the top forward goes, man, I feel like I'm ruining some owners' bidding days here if I start naming too many names. But
yeah,
top forwards, there's obviously names that some of us may not recall, but one that was scouting a lot, and a lot of people didn't give a whole lot of notice to was Natsu, XTBX Natsu. I don't see his name right there. He's definitely in the bidding. His previous gamer tag was Barco. Barco's a guy that's been around for so long. I've known him for such a long time, and the guy definitely can get things done. He can definitely. You can either put him at cam and he can create, or he can finish. He definitely can. It's definitely something that he can do. But no matter how good of a forward someone is at forward, it all comes down to the midfield. I firmly believe so.
That'll be a lot of cams too, man. We see a lot of big midfielders coming out, and it looks like it's going to be a very top-heavy bidding. But it'll be interesting to see who goes where and who fits. And yeah, top new right back. Nino is Kim. Oh, that's Dead Chat's just talking their own thing. In terms of top forwards, I'm newer to this league myself.
Right.
I'm looking around here, and I've seen guys in scouting games. I've seen guys, playing around. I'm not gonna try to spoil it by going on the draft list and just saying, "Oh, he's good," and and I
What's the fun
create
in that?
draft.
What's the fun in that?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, no fun. Actually, the GM of Swansea, Scott Swag, I've seen him. He's really aggressive and he can score, man. He can put that ball away. And then the two Arsenal owner and GM, Express and Not Nice. I've ran some games with them as well as I've ran a lot of games here with different management, and those two guys together are a nice 1-2 partnership. Whether you put them both at striker, put one on the wing, put one at cam, they can definitely get things done on their side of the pitch, and they can definitely get that ball behind the goalie, creating goals and just getting pressure off of their team. And then you got Neymar, man. I've seen Neymar just do things that some people in this game just can't do.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Neymar is pretty easy to shut down. I think the real topic here is I'm sure it'll appreciate it. Nino must go 30 million. Don't put any money on
Right.
anybody else. 30 million on Nino and run 3 people all season. I think you'll be a good set to go with that. Just kidding. Please don't do that. No, Nino's definitely a good player. A lot of people give him crap, but again, another guy that goes way, way back and has always been around. He's definitely a good player that can spark any kind of attack that you need, and it's definitely worth the pickup for sure.
Right. We have a question here from the Mamba. He wants to know, what are the bold predictions for the season?
Bold predictions. Wow. My bold prediction is, man, you're putting me on the spotlight. Is Pitt back in the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right,
Yeah,
Pitt.
Pitt's here.
All right, Pitt. I want you to give me the first bold prediction here.
The first thing I'm going to say, well, I don't know if it's so much bold. I do think Leicester is going to be at least a contender, or at least a thorn in everybody's side, for lack of better wording. I do think that there's going to be a number of teams that are going to be a lot closer with each other this season compared to last season, where there was only a couple that kind of took it away. I don't think we're going to see that this season. I think we're going to see a lot more competition, and that's something that I'm looking forward to, actually.
I was going to say the opposite. I think we're going to see a top 3, top 4 team race. I think you're definitely going to see a tighter race for first. But I think you're going to see separate races for different places. I think you're going to see a top 4, top 5 for first, and then I think you're going to see a big drop off there. And the only reason why I say that is the experience, the heavy experience we have in some owners, and the not so much in other owners. Of the new owners, I feel like this is going to bite me back, and please, buddy, make sure you run a damn good team so I'm not wrong. I think Arsenal will finish top 5. Only because of his enthusiasm and is willing to do what it's going to take to run a good team.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see this guy be an owner.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. That was going to be one of my predictions myself, that they were going to be contending, putting a problem for other teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little heads up for our future of the LGFA, for those that are listening and tuning in. You guys get a little sneak peek before I advance with this, but think about this to yourselves before a post comes out on LG. Obviously, as a commissioner, I always try to think ahead, even with this season not even starting yet. We're going to have a little bit of time after this season ends before FIFA 17 drops. And there's also big plans for 17, but those don't get released yet. But in the meantime, I'm going to offer to the community to vote on whether we run, either we do nothing at all, which I'm not a fan of and I don't think will happen. So let's just get to the two options of either running another LGFA season into continuation of this one, so a carryover, or we do a World Cup where anyone can be captain, and we decide. We'll decide on all the details, but pretty much a World Cup tournament is what I'd like to run. Something I'd consider.
The question with the World Cup is, would we run with like the same 14 team format, or would we try to get more and hope to have more in the community by that time?
Well, the issue always with the community here is, we didn't advance our ownership numbers, but I think we advanced our ownership quality, and
Right.
that to me is a step up. But the issue is that we still stayed at 14. Isn't a bad thing if we run all season with that 14 and we stay with the same 14 owners. Obviously, I want to see more. I want to see our hires number. But an incentive to run the World Cup and be a captain for that, or a manager for a country, is that we say you can pick 5 guys to be on your team, and then the
Right.
rest is done through a draft. Something Casey Nightshade and I were talking about last night, yesterday, in a party, was you get a couple people, bring a couple of your friends in, start a team up, and then you have to draft the rest of your team. We'll do a draft. It's definitely not going to be bidding. That's what I've decided. It's either going to be a draft, or you bring who you like. People try out for different countries. The only issue is that it may turn into a friend a league, and it might not be too favorable for some people, and I completely understand that.
A lot of people are they're calling for the World Cup, man. I think we might have to see a World Cup, Bryson.
I when I mentioned it to 2 of my owners yesterday, it was pretty obvious what they were going to go with. Pretty obvious what they would like to see.
Yeah.
I
We
think that's
have.
going to be a landslide decision, to be honest with you.
And I'm okay with that, because I like the World Cup better as well. I like either decision as long as we're playing, but I agree the World Cup would be a nice idea.
Bryson, since we have like a minute before bidding starts, let's answer this question that goes into bidding. What position do you guys think will be bid up first and or the fastest as we go into bidding?
Defense. It always is
Go
defense.
Goalkeeper.
Or goalie. I agree with Pitt. Defense or goalie. Here's my three. Here's my 3 guesses: defense, goalie, or Nino. So, really talking up Nino's price here. I want to see
There
him
you
be the
go.
most expensive player. And we have just hit 8 o'clock here, so bidding is just about to be underway here, folks.
I guess just as you're going to press that button there, I guess the one thing I want to put out there is that from being so involved in trying to get people to sign up and whatnot, there's a lot of new guys who have signed up from what I can see compared to most seasons, and they're all, I won't say they're top quality players compared to the guys who are seasoned in the league and whatnot, but they are decent and they are able to adjust quite well. So I think there's a lot of hidden talents to look for this season.
Absolutely, there always is. That's. I've been an owner in FIFA leagues for so many seasons, and the one thing I found most enjoyable about it is finding the next best thing. The next best player. And here's a perfect example. When you were running LGFA a couple seasons ago, I was actually in some drop-in games talking to people, and lo and behold, I actually ran into Psych Smoke Barbecue, and he's a guy that I actually ended up saying, hey, would you be interested in a FIFA league? And long story short, we found out we live 40 minutes away from each other, and then he eventually, as people can see, he's a pretty important and active member within the community now.
Yep.
So to me, that's the fun about being an owner, is going out and talking to different people and finding who is going to be that next surprise player. Just like how Lake was to me. I always thought, Lake's a hockey guy. How good can he be? And he turns out to be one of the LGFA's best center backs, one of the best center backs in 11s in general, to be honest. And I know that may be a bit of a steep opinion from that most people may think, but I truly believe that. The way from playing against him and my personal experiences, he's definitely a very good defender.
I got to ask this just to put it out there. How much do you think Bottleface is going to go for?
Bottleface. Well, he single-handedly carried Manchester United. That's for sure. Man United had some good offense. They actually had a pretty good midfield as well. I believe Barbecue was on that squad as well. Speaking of him, as we can see, our Bog is already at 5-0 at goalie there. Our predictions are starting to look accurate already with the and Vendy's at 5 as well. So,
Yep.
yeah, I think. I'm really stumped on that Pit. It's tough.
Yeah. We're seeing a lot of goalies getting bid on early.
Well, so far I see Bears and Taco, both pretty
Yep.
active guys.
We got Mezzo up
in
for
there
3.
as well. Yeah. For those who aren't familiar with the tools or whatnot, just underneath the shop box, there's the LGFA bidding button, and that's where you can do all sorts of filters and whatnot to see what's happening in bidding.
I'll show that. I'll show that right now to everybody. Here's the LGFA bidding. We'll show up below our lovely video. Hope you're all watching. And here's our list of everyone that's signed up, everyone that's not a manager or re-signed. You can either sort it by open, players that are available to be bid on, sort it by name, price, which everyone's obviously always curious about. And expiring is another one that is good to check out on once they start getting near the end. Immunity will be our first player to go final if he's not touched. For those that are new to bidding, once a player is bid on again, they'll be reset to 18 hours. So I would think to see the bidding process take about 3 to 4 days here.
Yeah.
Last season it dragged on a little bit due to some miscommunication with an owner, I guess I could say. I hate using, I don't think that's the proper word for it, but it kind of dragged on a little bit with just one team. But last season, a lot of the teams really got in and got out very quick, so I'm hoping to see the same result this season as well.
All right. We actually have 2 questions, Bryson, for all of us from a media man, Nubsy.
Okay.
And he wants to know, what do you think the highest price player will go for? And then our thoughts on your West Ham team having $39,750,000 to spend.
Well, I'm glad Nubsy brought up the second part. That's a question that I've been heard from a couple owners before. First part of the question, with an average of 30 million, we have 18-man rosters, so 15 to bid on, minus your owner, GM, and AGM. Figure about $7.5 million if you go $500K on everyone.
All right.
That gives you 22.5. My numbers are correct. 22.5 million for one player if you go everyone $500K. I think the most expensive you're going to see is 18 million. We're going to see an $18 million player. Back to West Ham. A lot of owners, not a lot, actually I've only had 2 owners bring this up to me, and it was kind of, they brought it up to me with only a day left before bidding, was, how is it fair to them that West Ham has all that money? And obviously, sitting in my seat, it's great. It's my team.
Right.
Sitting in a new owner's seat, yeah, I can see the feeling of that they have such a distinct advantage. And my response to that is that Stokes, Python, Mamba, McCullough, any of those returning owners, Soccer, picking up Arsenal squad, any of those guys returning as owners or picking up a team and choosing to keep a roster, they get rewarded for that, for committing to our league and sticking with it.
Right.
Stokes did the smart thing by selling off a lot of guys. He knew his team was out of it, and profit off his training camp guys and guys that were on expiring contracts, and just did things like a businessman. I will agree that he got quite a bit of money, and that there may be a ruling change for the future seasons. Perhaps not this season, that we will put a cap on how much money you can get, how much money you can be in the hole, and how much money you can obtain, to try and avoid this to happen again. for those.
Issue out the hard caps.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me throw a spin on what you're saying there as well, Bryson. The after effects of bidding and whatnot with the contracts and whatnot. Let's talk about that a little bit because I think that plays an important role. Like we see that already with a couple of teams that have numerous players coming back. Well, how many contracts does each team have to give away afterwards? And let's just open up that door.
An issue last season was, according to our bidding is going very fast. A lot of people being bid on. An issue I saw last season, and it happened with Python, was that they claimed that they were unaware of how the contract system worked. Last season, I extended the deadline and said, hey, you got to offer these contracts. And for those of you that aren't familiar with how contracts work, is if you don't offer a contract, everyone's a one-season deal. They have no trade request, and after the season's done, you can re-sign them if you return with that roster, or they go back into bidding if they play next season. The problem was that a lot of owners were claiming that they were unaware. There was a post in the managers forum, and a couple guys actually said they read it. What I plan to do this season is I hate to use this term, but almost babysit and make sure that owners 110% understand the contract system. Because Python missed out on having a very good team. And he knows that. And Python, the guy, here's what I'll say about Python. He gets on my nerves like everybody else. I'll be honest, everyone gets on my nerves. I'm a very irritable person if anybody knows me well. But what I will say about Python is that he was very understanding to the point that he was given the opportunity to offer those contracts and just didn't take advantage of it. And as a result, he missed out on having a lot of players return for United this season.
Right.
If you offer a player a 2 or 3 season deal contract, they get trade requests then. It's kind of a compensation, for sticking with a salary for multiple seasons, but it's also a safe haven for new guys that, let's use an example. Let's look at Simbai here. Okay, guy.
Okay.
We know who Simbai is. He plays and he's been around for some time. And let's say a new owner goes, well, I don't know about Simbai. What if he quits on me? I hope not. He's a deputy commissioner. But let's say he wasn't, and he's just a guy that somebody's like, I don't know about him. What if he doesn't like my team and wants to get off my team? Put the 1 season deal on him. He can't leave your team without you making the move. He can't request a trade.
All right.
But if you give him the multi-season deal, yes, it benefits your team, but you also take that risk of that player, maybe not happy with the team and putting in a trade request, and you have to answer that trade request and follow the rules then. So there's good and bad between either having a 1 season deal or a multi-season deal on a player.
Yeah. It was just good. It's good fallback in case that player feels uncomfortable with his multi-season deal with his team if he doesn't want to be there anymore and stuff like that.
Yep.
We actually have a question from Brendan Atkins. I think that's General Boss. This is actually a really good one. I like tips for new players and what they should do once they end up on a team. Pretty much like tips for the newer guys. We have any of those?
For the newer guys,
I have one right off the bat, if you don't mind me jumping in.
Let the PA do it. That's your job, man. Let me take a break. God damn it.
The one single most suggestion that I have for anybody that's new is to make yourself available and to be active as much as possible. That in itself plays a huge factor and gives you a huge edge over maybe half the guys that could have the spot that you're fighting for.
That's basically what I would say, plus one more thing. And this even goes to the veteran players. Everyone plays the game differently. One person that I'll really point out here is Strictly Hattie. I believe that's Gator, correct, Pitt?
I don't recall if he's changed his gamer tag, so
Okay.
I couldn't answer that.
Most people reference him as Gator. He was an owner a couple seasons ago, and I hated the guy because he ran the 4-2-4, and
Mm.
as the kind of play style I like to play, I
Hmm.
cringe of thinking about playing in that formation. So as a veteran player, I would have never given it a chance. But what I want to say to those veteran guys and the new guys is trust your owners. You know,
Yeah.
give it everything you got. If it fails, I guarantee you, if you're respectful to your owners, they'll trade you. They'll do anything for you if you do anything for them. So
Yeah.
that's treat your owners with respect. That's the biggest thing. You're gonna get you're gonna get a manager. You're gonna get an owner. You're gonna get players that you play with that are gonna say, quote unquote, "You idiot! Why'd you make that pass? Oh, that was stupid. Why are you running into people?" You're gonna hear it. Okay, it's
Right.
based on a lot of people have very narrow mind. They're very narrow minded and just don't know how to tell you things nicely. I'm hoping that our 14 owners and 14 GMs and 14 AGMs do, and I believe they do. So, if you mess up and an owner tells you something, don't take offense to it. That is
Right.
one of the biggest things and one of the biggest reasons why you see a team collapse sometimes. And that's
On
Yeah.
that note, I do want to mention to them as well is one of the things that LGFA I think prides itself in is players having rights. Right? So if you do feel that maybe there's been too much of somebody crossing the line or whatnot, first of all, try and deal with it. Just use some common sense and not necessarily be rude about it. But if it seems like it's something beyond your control, that's what the PA is here for. Bring it to my attention. Let
Yep.
us get involved. Let us help you out.
absolutely, and that's why you're here, Pitt. We and that's why I'm happy to have you here is because last season we had a PA that wasn't very active. They claim they tried, and I appreciate. That's all I can ask of them is that they felt they tried. We took action. We got a lot of new staff members in, and that's another area I'm incredibly excited about is the staff committee we have this season from deputy commissioner to Boggs to PA with Pitt. And just like Pitt mentioned, if you feel if there's any wrongdoing, just bring it to the PA. Don't make a scene about it because when you make a scene about it, that's when it loses any kind of truth behind it, and people and then it's not really taken seriously. So if you ever feel that you're being mistreated by any management, any owner, even staff member, God, I hope not, Pitt is the man to go to for the players.
Right. I have another thing for newer guys. For all the new guys out there that are watching the show and you're getting picked up or you're getting on training camp, don't be discouraged if you're not playing as much as you want to be. Your chance will come. It's you see the guys not getting what they play, and you see them using more of their active guys. You're sitting on TC. Don't get discouraged about LG so quickly. It's a very different system. It's a very different thing that happens than just like the drop-ins or club itself. It's gonna be a process, and it gets better with time.
Absolutely, and I think I want to add another statement along with that. What we said previously in this show is that if you claim you play forward, that's fine. But
Yep.
most teams are going to have their established forward for their team. And I guarantee that. Sure, some TC players might get a chance at forward, but make yourself available to play all positions and get good at all positions. Not just striker, not just cam. Even if you're a center back, even though a center back will be utilized a lot, practice it outside back, practice it DM, expand your game, and I
Right.
guarantee you all TC players will get multiple opportunities to be able to play on the main roster as long as they make themselves positionally available.
Right.
I want to put a spotlight a little bit there. You're going to hear me going back to the TC games a lot. I know it's not something that for some people seems like a great idea and whatnot. But you know what? There's so many facets to the TC games, and one of them is giving TC guys or guys who aren't playing as much that aren't on the main roster an opportunity to play and be seen. Perhaps maybe even if there's no opportunity for you with your team, perhaps another manager or owner might see you play and might decide you're worth trading for. Come out and play in your games. You are required to play 2 games within a 2 week span, and we're going to try and make sure that we have full 11s during those games. So, and like I said, there's a lot of skill and talent in the TC this season. So I don't think you're going to see any kind of game that's just going to be overrun by one side or the other.
Completely agree with that. The TC games too is what's cool is we can expect a big system implemented where you TC any of the TC guys that let's say you want to play forward as a TC guy, that's fine. You'll have that opportunity in the TC games because we actually will be keeping track of stats, and it's actually a nice whole new system that Pitt and I have been working on for this upcoming season.
Right.
And as well, the media team is also going to be producing some things, week to week or every couple of weeks and whatnot. We've already seen what Nubsy can do with his newsletter, but we're also hoping to, those guys who stand out a little bit more than the rest of them in the TC games, we're hoping to give them a little bit of space on the newsletter as well. So we're doing what we can to get you out there.
Definitely.
Yep. Any questions that we got going on here?
I want to address Jimmy Castaneda. He's saying the issue came up about West Ham having money, and the last thing he said was, "Wow, unfair advantage. New owners with wiped out rosters should have more money to spend. West Ham is OP." Jimmy, you got to think about it. It's kind of like the NFL or FIFA or something like that. Returning owners are going to have their money cycling into the league already, and they're going to have their sales, their buy-ins, things like that. So their money's going to fluctuate. The new guys got to start off somewhere. They can't just start off with the same money that a returning owner has earned already. So it looks unfair, but it's kind of like the realism to it is there, and it just has to.
To that is that. Yes, it sucks being a new owner. Dusan Double D and I have talked about it. He was the first to bring it to my attention, not to my attention, but to bring it up and discuss about it. And my response to it was that, would you not, if you were in D Stokes' position and you saved that kind of income up, and I told you the next season, hey, I'm giving all these owners free money for being new owners, and you have no advantage because you committed to us for your second season in a row. Almost seems like you'll have strong feelings on either side of the fence on this topic. That's the way I'm feeling as it is.
Right. And we're getting a Nick Sucks saying that's a BS excuse for an unfair advantage. I mean, I don't feel that there's an advantage in terms of money and how much they can spend, but every team has their scouting list, guys. Every team is scouting different players. If it so happens that one player is eyed by more than one team, then the price either way, no matter how much money you're having, is going to go up. I don't even know what else to say to this. They're just...
Well, the one thing that I'll throw in there is that, in my opinion, I can see where the arguments are coming from, but the thing that I'm keeping in mind is that, for lack of better wording, West Ham, in my opinion, pretty much already, to my knowledge, has a good idea of who they want there, and really the excess money isn't going to make that much of a difference for them in that regard. Yeah, I might give them a little bit of an edge in terms of making sure that they get the guys that they really want. But again, I don't think most of the other teams are going to necessarily be looking at the same guys anyways.
And you know, this is a topic I guess it almost seems like if I'm going to say I'm sick of talking about it, it's because I lost the argument, but it's not because I feel I've lost the argument. It's because I am really just tired of talking about it. We've made our strong opinion about it, and to bring it up day of bidding, day before bidding, kind of leaves you at a time constraint. I made a post in the managers forum of the money that everyone was getting, and only one owner came to me with the issue.
Right.
You know, I talked to him about it. He still felt differently about it, but 13-1, when I don't hear 13 other owners mention anything about it, I pretty much assume that all is well. Even though West Ham has the advantage in money, even though Leicester has the advantage in fairly good priced players under contract, this is where I expect to see a team like Arsenal. Who else are our new owners? I'm like drawing a blank.
Our newer guys.
Klepto is a new owner. This is where I see these guys thrive, is bringing in people that they've been playing with for a while, people that not your common owner would recognize, and I expect to see their guys excel and really balance out the league here.
Right.
I'm always one to also take on a challenge, right? So, you know what? If there is this big of an advantage that they give them, let's bring the game to them, right? That's the way that I take it, and I think a lot of the guys, the owners who are there, I think that's what they're going to do with this. Is they're going to use what they have. That can't change, but they can definitely still make a good run at making sure they get a top spot.
Absolutely, I could agree with that. Any other questions we're getting right now? Respect.
Yeah, we're gonna drift away from this whole unfair advantage thing because now it's just becoming a headache. I seen a couple of guys like Brendan and Pat asking, and Cheeky Vision were talking about, are we doing an official team of the season type of thing this year? Like, are we having that type of feel from the media aspect?
We did have a team of the season last season, Cheeky. You should have gotten your award. I believe you were on the team. If you didn't, you weren't on the team. I'm sorry for misleading you then. As I made a post a couple days ago, a week ago, whatever the time frame was, I made it extremely clear how disappointed I was on our media part of this website. One thing, if people know me, I've always loved doing media, hence a bidding show. I've always loved creating content for people to read and enjoy, and it definitely makes any league you play in a million times better because there's media to look forward to. I'll show everyone here. A great example is Nubsy's post here. It was excellent media work. I thought it was phenomenal. It was a great read. It was published very professionally, and it blew me away, to be honest. And this alone was better than, as you can see my comment, holy shit, it was better than anything we had last season. So expect a lot of activity and good things from the media team this season, Cheeky. Another idea we thought of was, and someone mentioned this, was we didn't have an all-star game last season. Why not? Well, technically, the EPL doesn't have an all-star game. The MLS does when we were running MLS teams, but I thought to myself, why do we have to mirror the EPL exactly for every part of it? We don't have to. We're our own unique league, and we can add things and be a hybrid of other leagues. So the idea of an all-star game could happen. Team of the season, absolutely. But just trying to keep on topic of what to expect in those areas, and definitely in the plans for the media team this season.
Yeah, man, should be a good year for the media aspect of the league. should be a good year for the league in general.
Absolutely. Do we have any other questions? Respect.
I'm looking now. We had one, but I don't want to read it up here. That was kind of just rude. Uh, were there team of the season cards from Cheeky Vision? If you wanted to address that again. Nothing else really from the chat. If you guys have anything you want to know, feel free to type it, and we will definitely answer it.
Absolutely. As far as the team of the season card, that again needs to come through media. We have a graphics guy. I'm going to talk with him and definitely look to see have the graphic cards. I wish I could talk right now. Looking to see if we can get the team of the season cards. I agree, they are very nice if the right person is behind it, and I think we have a good graphics guy on the team here. So we'll definitely look into that. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Right, and
those are
let me
always
bring
nice.
out, I guess, another question that maybe might be lingering on the side, or that kind of might be sort of forgotten. But new signups after bidding and everything, once everything's all settled and whatnot, how's that being handled?
In what aspect? How are they being assigned?
Yeah, and so I know last season we did
Random assignments.
Friday,
Yeah.
yeah, Friday night random assignment. Is there any change that's being planned for that?
Not at the moment. It was brought up to have blind bids on players. It's a nice idea, but I might have to say no to it in this aspect. For example, I'm an owner, and Respect is a friend of mine that's very good at the game, but I didn't want him to sign up for bidding because he plays defense, and I didn't want anyone to know about him. Let's say I asked him to sign up after bidding, and I put a blind bid of 500K on him, and no one else knows who he is. No one else has that 18-hour bidding window to bid on him. It kind of sets an unfair advantage within the league. The random assignments are tricky. They're definitely, nobody touches them except Tris syncs them, and they all get assigned to teams based on teams' needs. So if a team is low on players, or let's say 5 defenders sign up, and there's a team with no defenders, I guarantee at least one of those guys is going to go to that team. Some people may feel that it is assigned by staff, but I guarantee you it is not, because I can guarantee you I would not sit there assigning players to teams. That's a lot of labor for something so small that we can just automate.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an idea that we could consider, but I am concerned about the issue that it could cause with players sneaking in and going cheap and benefiting some teams.
It's always a tricky thing. If I could just say one thing to this chat, guys, if you're going to ask a question, can we ask a question that we can actually answer on this show? We cannot ask up here, we cannot answer who's West Ham bidding on, and who are, these weird questions you guys are asking are just, we're not going to put them up here and try to put each other on the spot. George Figueroa wants to know, what do we know as far as legendary Fig and what he can do to contribute to Liverpool?
Legendary Fig. A guy that I've personally talked to more and more this season. Last season I really wasn't familiar with him. Saw the name, didn't know him too well, but this season he took management with Liverpool, and based on talking with him, he definitely has the ambition and the knowledge to make the team better. I think Mamba's a good owner, but I think Fig complements Mamba being a good owner. Mamba's, as those two as a duo goes, and I know Nubsy is the AGM, I believe, Mamba will be your setup owner. He sets up the team, he sets the lineups, he sets the schedule, but Fig will be your game plan. He'll know where to put players, what position would be best suited for them. I think that's where these two are going to really work well together and have themselves a fairly decent season.
There you go, Fig. Now you got your opinion on yourself, bud.
Oh, wow. You should have told me it was him asking. I wouldn't have answered it then. But
Yeah, man. All right, so we've covered pretty much a lot. I have a question for you guys.
okay.
Do you think it's gonna be the bigger name guys, or like the bigger bid guys, or the smaller bid guys making more of a contribution to their teams this season?
You can take that first bit. Or not. Pick a nut. I'm sorry, I was reading something. Give me the question one more time.
Is it going to be like the bigger name bids, like the bigger guys in the league, or is it going to be these newer, smaller 500K guys making more of a contribution to the league? And real quick, Denver, after this question, I will get to yours, bud.
Um, Definitely, and without hesitation, as soon as you repeated that question, I knew what I wanted to say. Definitely the smaller contracted players, because from my experience, and obviously I talked to my owner about what he likes with our what we want to do with our team in West Ham, and I got to be honest, I've lost my touch. There's a lot of names I really don't know. Some I've seen traveling through the site, some I've seen in other areas of FIFA, and it definitely is going to be the smaller, the less known players is what's going to be the difference between a good and bad team, or a middle table team and a top team, without a doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. And the reason why I said that is because let's look at we're looking at defense right here, for an example. I mentioned Siri, and me mentioning him is, I'm not trying to knock Siri down at all, but he's a fairly new guy, and for me to only mention him and Vendy shows how we have so many new names here now in the league and playing in FIFA. So that's why I think the lower price players are going to be so much more significant, because I don't notice the big names as much as I've used to. And that's just from a personal perspective. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm seeing this picture.
Right. All right, so we have two questions. The first one, Denver Rocks. I'm hoping I get this question right. If not, just send me it again with like more specific. He wants to know top 5 or top 10 defense in the league, Bryson. So I'm thinking he means like, who do you think will have like the best defense this season, like top 5?
Top
I'm
5
hoping that's what he
teams?
means. Yeah, like top 5 defenses. He's saying like who's gonna have the best defenses overall.
Well,
What if I run out of money? Jesus.
Well, if a team is starting with a player that I feel is the best defender in the league, and I obviously am going to point to Leicester, that automatically makes them the top 5 easily. I'd like to think us having Vanderduke on West Ham makes us a top 5 defense as well. Everyone knows Stokes. He loves playing the 5-back in the worst formations you will ever see in the league. As far as other defenses, it's going to be all like the previous question you asked. The 500K guys, the cheap players. That's what it's going to come down to. Is who's going to pick up the cheaper defenders that are going to be the most efficient.
I gotta say, from my viewpoint, I just think, we keep coming back to the same statements, and I think everybody kind of knows it. And it's a team sport, right?
Yeah.
What it's going to come down to, in my opinion, is not so much who are the big names and whatnot, but who adjusts as a team, in one regard or another. I don't know if that maybe doesn't answer the question in terms of defense specifically, but I think that's what we're going to see, is a lot of adjustments and see who can adapt to keep themselves up top.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Did you say there was another question there, Respect?
Yeah. Steven wants to know any unexpected bids so far. Do you see any bids that are unexpected on your opinion And
Well, let me refresh one more time and go ahead and continue what you were going to say.
Denver, I'm sorry, but I had a feeling I was going to get that question wrong. Meant top 10 players, not teams, since everyone's not on a team yet. We really can't cover top 10 defenders not on a team yet because we are looking at a lot of newer guys ourselves. But Bryson, if you look at the draft list and see any defenders you can notify, Steven, that's kind of like saying go start a bidding war for that player, so it's kind of unfair. But if we can answer that player, if we can answer that question, Denver, we will answer it. And then Steven wants to know if you have any unexpected bids so far.
Uh, Unexpected bids. I would have to say Stefano, 7 mil. That's yeah, he's definitely a good player. He's obviously a staff member for us this season. Jerome can do a lot of good things, but 7 mil is incredibly pricey for a forward or whatever position you plan to have him at. Especially as I was stating earlier, the lack of defense, or the lack of known defenders. So that's obviously a risky bid, but it could pay off if you have the defense established.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go ahead.
From what I'm seeing, I gotta say I'm a little bit surprised at Clausen being so high and with so many bids.
I'm
I
not.
mean, I think he's
Go ahead.
decent and whatnot, but um, I just think he's kind of been kind of in the spotlight for the past season a little bit more so than what to get him what he's getting right now, opposed to somebody who hasn't. I don't think he would have got the same kind of bids if he wasn't.
Clausen is a guy that I wasn't too familiar with when I first took commissioner last season, and after going through last season and then coming into this season and seeing his name being thrown around, he's definitely not a cheap player, or shouldn't be anymore. And he's a name I forgot to mention prior to bidding. You know, you ask any owner, some people have limits on players. 7,250 is definitely high for any player, because you're already down then to 22,750 in your cap space with trying to fill an 18-player roster. So it's a lot of money to put in one place. But Clausen is a versatile player and can offer his talents in many positions, not just goalie.
Right. I actually have one bid myself that's not necessarily unexpected, but it's definitely one that's come through a lot of hard work, and I think it deserves some mention. General Boss 915. He's a newer guy. He's putting in LG like in the forums a lot that he's newer to FIFA and he's not the greatest player and he's willing to learn. And I feel like that's really benefiting him in this bidding so far. Having a team go out, take a risk on a newer guy and say, listen, we want you to play for our team. I think it shows how, if you're active and you're willing to learn on this league and willing to take the steps in LG, that a team will take a chance on you.
Absolutely, and that right there is what's good about being an owner, and the fun about it is you take a chance on a new guy, but a guy that's willing to learn, a guy with a good personality. I agree, Boss seems to be a respectable player. If you can bring him into your system and get him to play the position how you want him to play it, hey man, $500K for anybody that can be in your starting 11 is a pretty good price.
Yeah. We have a question from Dusan Dragicevic. I don't know, bro, if I messed that name up. Oh my god, bro, if I messed that name up, I apologize. He says, serious question. As an owner, what if I run out of money?
Well, you're going to be in big trouble because you have a set amount of money, and that you have to fill an 18-player roster with that 30 million. So the only thing I can say is that hopefully one of those big bids that you might have gets bid on by somebody else, and spend your money wisely.
let's not forget as well that I've seen in the past. I'm not going to say that it's necessarily happening this season, but there are times where people or owners obtain a player because they know another team really wants him desperately. So they obtain him for the purpose of what he's worth to trade for, um, so, as a trading piece and whatnot, as well as his skills. So he can't lose either way, right?
Right.
I kind of lost my train of thought here a little bit, but um, yeah, sorry, I kind
Come
of
back
forgot
to
the
planet
question.
Earth. Let's go, Pitt. Come on, man.
I kind of had two things going in at once in my mind. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, the one thing I was gonna say is basically you're gonna be end up relying a lot on your training camp players or whoever gets filled in, what you can do afterwards in terms of trading and managing that way, because it in the end you're still gonna have a functional team. It's just may not be the people that you prefer to have, and you're gonna have a difficult time in terms of what you can do with, like, you won't have money to trade for players, but you're going to have to get creative with what you can do with what you have.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also back to Dusan's question is, if you are over the cap and you have, let's say you finish the bidding with 16 or 15 players and you have a $7 million player. Preseason, we're going to have a preseason this season because I do feel it's very crucial.
Right.
We'll allow you guys to make trades during that time. You could trade that player and acquire some cheap players to help fill out your roster. That's the only alternative you have if you do get stuck in that situation.
Yeah. Bryson, if you don't mind, we have a lot of questions built up, so I kind of want to just bang
Sure,
through a
let's
few
go.
quick ones
Let's
real
go. Let's
quick.
hear him. Hot seat.
Real quick, Scott Nugent, but I can answer you this one real quick. Can we expect more exposure with more Twitch shows and weekly radio shows like this? Yes. The LG media team is stepping it up a lot this season. Expect a lot of things to be done in terms of media, in terms of Twitch, radio.
I want to add to his question too. Is that I have the ability now, where you guys are seeing, I can put a Twitch stream here, any game that we're that's with LGFA, and I can also have it here right now where the LG CHL playoffs are. I can override all of this. So if you have a stream going, you say, "Hey Bryson, I'm running." Even if you guys are running scouting games, shoot me a message. Say, "Hey Bryson, can you put my stream on the page?" I have absolutely no problem with that.
And you know what, Bryson, real quick, we're actually getting a request here for anyone who wants to play right now. The LGFA Training Camp Home Club is running, so you may go join LGFA TC Home and run games with a couple of guys. And Bryson, I'm going to tell you to go look at the YouTube chat because I feel like you have
I can't.
some words to
I
settle.
can't as the
Oh,
streamer.
okay, yeah, that's right.
Go ahead.
All right. What other questions we have? Scott Nugent also wants to know which new team owner and GM combo is expected to fly under the radar and put in the work.
I think I mentioned it already earlier in the show, and I have no problem
You have.
saying it again. Is Arsenal.
Yep.
I love that. I love it. I love Boss. And if there's anything, if his GM and AGM are anywhere close to the enthusiasm and the willpower to do what they want to do this season, expect some good things from that team.
Yeah.
I want to answer that as well, just by saying again, there isn't one team that I can see here with their management combination that doesn't have a game plan, from what I know, of some sort. So there's a lot of things going on that are just not being seen everywhere, and everybody's on their game. I'm very curious to see how it's going to play out.
Absolutely. Next question. Go ahead.
Let's see here. We have what's his name? I'm trying to look for. We have a lot of comments going through. Dusan is just that's for you to figure out later. Jimmy Castaneda wants to know how do I check.
Instead of Dusan, I would like you to.
I'm moving on.
No. Just address him as sewing machine. That's
Oh, okay. Sewing machine.
Yes. But go ahead.
All right. Jimmy wants to know how do I check out how much money I have. That's for you to.
Is he an owner?
I don't know. Jimmy, can you let me know if you're an owner, GM,
I think
whatever?
That's kind of a dumb question by me. Obviously, he's an owner. If you look right now at the page we're looking at, I have manager access for one of the teams in case there's a bidding issue. so I can go in and fix it. You go to bidding board or my roster. I'm not going to click on it because you'll see that team. That's where you can check your finances for your team based on how much money you already, how much money you start with, how much money you have pending, all that good stuff. So that's exactly where you need to go.
Yeah. All right.
Let me answer this question, even though it hasn't been asked, but just in case anybody's wondering, is there any way to reverse a bid? The answer is no. Once it's in, it's money spent. It's done.
Let me give you guys a problem that occurred in the NHL is that a owner went to put a $500K bid on somebody. Actually, I'm sorry, a $2 million bid on somebody, and they ended up putting $20 million on him. The player was not very good at all. Definitely supposed to be a cheap player. The league, out of good faith, took the bid away. I can tell you guys that I was against it. I felt that if you're making that bid, you better be 120% sure that you're counting your zeros and making sure you're putting the right amount in.
Yeah. All right. See, we have George again. I got Legendary Figs wants to know, and I like this question. What do donations contribute to? I don't.
On the website?
Bryson. I would think so. He's asking, what do the donations contribute to?
The website, I'll give you guys a little history lesson for those that weren't around. The website had a big issue. It was DDoSed. There was a DDoS attack on the website, and the server it was running on was a company that somebody worked with, and the company said, no more. So
right.
LG's future was pretty much up in the air. No one knew. Even Triss was uncertain of the future, and there's actually a post, I believe, in the official news on the main forum. You can check it out if you want to read the story yourself. I'm kind of giving you guys the short version, but they had a donation, and some people in the community went as much as donating $1,000, and to the point where LG now runs its very own server. It doesn't run off anybody else's. It doesn't pay for anyone, any other company to run off of. LG paid for the equipment and built their own server to run LG off of. So that's what the money goes towards, is the server. You can also get upgraded accounts that give you, a colored name or different chat box privileges and different things like that. I believe it's all detailed in the before you purchase it. But that's where the donations go, is towards the website.
All right.
And just to add to that, the majority of people who help different leagues function and whatnot, it's all volunteer based. Nobody's getting anything out of it except for the fun that there is associated with it.
Yep. Everyone's got to remember that coming into this league, you don't pay anything to play. You play for free, and like Pitt said, it's a lot of volunteer work. So the donations towards the website is if you don't have the time to help out, hey man, donations is just as good. It helps the league out just as much as we are. So
right,
it's appreciated.
Yeah. What else do we have here? Mexi and Noit. Mexi wants to know, Bryson, do you think Neymar will nut up or shut up this season?
I'll tell you, man, these Neymar, Nino, these are some popular guys. I'm telling you, I want to get a party together, just stream a show with these guys just talking. It must be a hit. Will he nut up or shut up? He definitely won't shut up. That I can guarantee you. But will he nut up? Probably not. He's probably too scared. I'm gonna say he won't nut up, but he won't do either.
He's definitely a lot of fun and does like to keep things alive and entertaining. So
absolutely.
Maybe nut up isn't quite the right word, but he definitely will keep things entertaining.
That's awesome. And also, Nino says hi.
Nino, why aren't you 20 million yet? That's what I'm asking. I don't think he tried out with enough teams.
Yeah. Who has... Let's look this up. He wants to know who has the most bids on him.
Who has the most bids on him? What? I don't
Yeah,
understand that question.
he's asking like someone like Van B. Matthias has 4 teams bidding on him. He looks like to have the most teams bidding on him at the moment.
Oh, how many teams? Oh, who has the most teams bidding on top? Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. We'll go to open.
Steven, it's looking like Matthias, I would say.
Let's see. Let's just graze through here. It looks like a lot of players have 4 teams. So 4
Yeah.
looks like it's the max. We've got Vendy with 4, Klassen with 4. I apologize for my
Oh yeah, there we go. I just updated mine.
Texas Tennis
Yeah.
with 4, Messi with 4, uh, Matthias with 4. So, yeah, 4 seems to be the magic number. So, which normally is the case. Don't be surprised
Yeah.
to see something with Nino here, where there's only 2 teams bidding on him, and he's at 8 million.
Right.
That's all it takes. It doesn't matter how many teams. It's if 2 teams really want the player, that's when it starts to get very high.
Yeah. I'm gonna call you sewing machine because that's what I've been told to do. So that question I wouldn't ask here because I don't think we can. I think that's just not something we're gonna cover. Um, Anybody else wants to answer any other question? I'm loving the question. You guys are flowing out here, chat. Just keep it
Let
up.
me just put something up for Bryson to put out there. Just I guess take the opportunity to talk about the LG app a little bit, maybe even show them, where they are or whatnot. But I think there's a lot of people that don't know we have an app, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an app. We have an LG app. We have a Facebook page. We have many ways of communication for the website. I will say that I really am very pleased with how our off-season went. I saw a lot of activity in the chat box. It blew away any activity we had last season. It was excellent. I'm hoping it keeps up throughout the season, and it was great. It was great to see. But some people prefer Facebook. Some people prefer just throwing in Facebook, hey, is anyone running clubs, rather than come to the chat box. That's okay.
Right.
But understand, people, that it's a Facebook group named LGFA. Some people don't like putting their faces out there. You guys will see my pretty face all season with my show. The app is excellent. And I'll say it's excellent for owners and managers. Managers, because you get alerts. Sometimes those alerts can be annoying. I guarantee it's going to be annoying during bidding when you see so-and-so has outbid you for this player at this price.
Right.
It can get quite annoying if you're busy in the bidding process. What I will say is that when I send out messages to owners and management about reminders, that's when it's good. You'll go, oh, look, Bryson sent me a message. I got to check this out. Or if another owner messages you and says, hey, you want to trade? It's another good point. On the player perspective,
Ooh.
let's say I'm on West Ham and I was traded to Sewing Machine's team. It would say, you have been traded to Sewing Machine's team, or Watford for the proper team. It's good for alerts and a heads up of what's going on when you're not at a computer or able to be on the website.
Yeah.
It's also the one thing that I really especially liked about it over the years is the scheduling system and whatnot, and being able to see when the games are, who's playing what positions, and the rest of that.
There's so many features to it that for me to go on about it, we'd have the show on for another hour. So just download the LG app. It's League Gaming, one word. Tristan Hodge is the creator of the app, and just download it. Yeah, have it on your phone. It's very useful.
Yeah. All right, and we got another question here from Scott McKay, is asking, Bryson, you're a hockey guy, I'm a hockey guy. How many LGHL guys are we looking for to make an impact in the LGFA?
Okay. This is going to be a little knock against McKay. He's a hockey guy. I'm a better hockey guy, okay? McKay, I'm the better hockey owner, okay? Let's just get that settled out of the way. No, McKay's a great guy. I love McKay. I'm really glad that he's here. I've mentioned Lake a million times. There's a lot of hockey guys here that are and that's one thing people always bashed about LG, and I think there was less hockey guys than there was previously, but they're still here. We still have some hockey guys, but some people always bash, it's filled up with hockey guys that just want to quit whenever. Well, they can't anymore. The website's policy is that if you quit any league at all, you're not allowed to sign up for any other league until that ban is up. So I think that's why maybe we're seeing less hockey guys. But you'll see guys like, off the top of my head, Proud Gay Dad, Development Dad. Wow, a lot of dads in hockey. E. Rice is a hockey guy. Marino Swag is hockey. Trying to just browse through here. Smarts, believe it or not, some people may not believe this. He was actually a goalie in the hockey leagues, quite a good goalie to be exact. And you could say the flip side. A lot of FIFA guys are actually you're starting to see play in the hockey league here as well, and some are quite good. Shout out to my boy Tebow in West Ham. He actually got a NHL playoff debut last week with Los Angeles, who's pretty much favored to win the cup. I would say they're one of the 4 remaining teams in the playoffs. So, hey, if you think you can crack it on hockey, FIFA guys, give it a shot. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. What else do we have? Maybe. All right, so we got a couple of questions here from George in terms of media that we can answer. We covered Team of the Season and said that we're going to try to get those cards, right? Because we have the graphics guy, and those Team of the Season cards are nice and whatnot. Will there be weekly players like in FUT? And will there be a consistent montage of top goals on a week-by-week basis?
Oh, I love this question because this question is exactly some of the new stuff we're adding to the website. We actually have a guy that, and not just a guy, because any of us can actually do this. I've only showed one person so far, and I know it as well, is that Tris has a system implemented into the website that's a top 10 system. And I'm glad this is brought up because there's a lot of points I want to bring up to people, is that make sure when you're in a game and you any goal you score, double tap the Xbox button and hit X, or yell to your Kinect, Xbox record that.
Right.
Any league game you play in, it'll grab any kind of clips, screenshots that happen during the game time and an hour before and after, and automatically bring it to the to LG. There's a system that certain people can see that all clips during a certain week will be together. All we have to do is I go in, I look at all the clips, and I rank them 1 through 10. I tell Tris, hey, it's ready to go. He makes a video, bam, on YouTube. We have a top 10 plays of the week. That will be available every week. I guarantee you, no ifs, ands, or buts.
That's awesome, man. Guys, expect a lot from the media this season. We're going to try our hardest for you guys because everybody in this LGFA deserves a decent community, and media really makes up a big part of this community, and at least my opinion that our Fig. All right, we're going to call you Fig from now on, but what was I saying? Yeah, the media can make up a big part of this community, and we want to try to do our best for you guys and make really nice and entertaining content.
I want to actually jump on a question here that I scrolled upon here. All of you can see it from what a name, Salty Baby Maker X.
That's great.
When they mention donations, go to the site and it's free to play. Have they ever thought of having an entry fee to where some money goes to site and rest goes to winner of the league? There is already a league for that, for the hockey. I know it's not relevant to us right now. It's called Pro Series. We actually tried running it here for FIFA at the time, and still now, our FIFA community is small. That's the big issue. Is let me give you guys a numbers. Let's play the numbers game. I love numbers. It's what I deal with all the time.
Oh man, then we can't be friends.
So let's look at the LGHL. They've got 1,065 already for next season. Let's look at Pro Series. It doesn't show the signups. I will take you guys directly to the Pro Series here. Okay, so they have over 1,000. Last season, LGHL had 3,000 signups. For next season, there's 1,000 already. This is all the teams for Pro Series. This is the most Pro Series has ever had for hockey. So let's figure there were 3,000 members last season, and the Pro Series had 20 teams with 10 players each. That's 200 players out of 3,000. So think if we want to run a money league and take 200 from 3,000,
Right.
those numbers mean that our LGFA numbers really need to climb before we start getting into this. I definitely want to get into it. I completely agree. Playing for money brings a little more importance to it.
Yep.
It definitely brings a little more excitement to it, and I completely would love to see it happen. I agree with you, Baby Maker. It's already implemented with hockey. We just gotta build ourselves a community here first before we go down that road.
Let me tag on, just maybe drift off to a tangent here, but in terms of growing the league and whatnot, that's something that all of us can do. And I mean, media is doing what we can in order to make it more visible, make it easier for you guys to share with other people and the rest of it. But the real success in growing the league is you telling your friends, even in drop-ins or club, matches or whatever method you play the game, just mentioning it to people, just tell them to check out the site. And that's where the real success and growth comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one thing I'll applaud my staff is, specifically Pitt. I did what I could with my time is, when we saw our numbers based off the start and we just started hammering out messages, talking to people, getting people to sign up, the numbers drastically climbed. They definitely went really fast. I mean, Pitt, could you agree? Once we started getting into the grind, these numbers started to increase for us.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't a one-man show or anything like that. It was a group effort, team effort, and I mean that's part of the reason why I'm really excited about the staff that we have is there's really a lot of activity going on, and it may not always be seen, but we're definitely putting in our time in here.
Yeah, absolutely. So think of it this way, guys. With me and Pitt just doing messages, I'm not saying, because I've actually got confirmation from owners saying, oh yeah, I was in a drop-in, I was talking to a couple guys and got them to sign up. Hey, that's awesome. But that's what it comes down to, is that think of the numbers we achieved with just a couple guys. Imagine if all 320 members that we have now, 350, somewhere in that range, imagine if all of us did our part and got people to sign up and talk to your friends and talk to people that you play with Xbox daily and say, hey, sign up for this league, come play. We could easily achieve so much more. We could easily increase our number of 14 owners to 20 without any issues. Everyone needs to work together to achieve that goal.
What else do we have here? Yeah, so we got another question here, and Bryson, I think we can talk about this for a little. Just like a quick, brief thing, because I want to know as well. The voting for the top 10 goals of the week. All right? Mm-hmm. Fig wants to know, can the community vote on these goals that go into the montages and the top 10s?
Yes. After you're done a game, below, up here, you'll see all these clips here. Just go latest top 10 and recently submitted. Right. Tris explains all of it right here. As you can see, I'm dragging the clip. You can see the rating. You can vote. This is the. I apologize. This is how to do the top 10. But when you go to view someone's video on LGFA, you can actually vote it. You can actually give a rating on it. We see that when we're doing our top 10. I'm sorry guys, I'm not trying to break up my sentence here, but I'm trying to find clips to give an example.
I believe part of the algorithm that Tristan put into it too as well is depending on that feedback from the community, it also gives it an automatic initial sort of rating of some sort.
Yes, it does. Pitt's correct that based on everyone's ratings, it'll set it 1 through 10. Now, as media committee, we understand that some people troll and some people want to be funny and vote up a dumb clip, like a goalie kicks it into his own net because he's mad about something. Of course that's not going to make top 10, even though everyone thinks it's hilarious. that's when we step in to remove those kind of clips. But all you do is you saw me click on Mac's clip here. You rate it here. I think, Mac, you're terrible, so I'll give it a 1 out of 10. That's pretty rough. And then you can actually share it in the chat, and it'll media item shared, and it should show up in the chat box here eventually. I believe it should. But that's it. That's all you do. You don't even need to share it in the chat. That rating that I just gave it will actually go to the top 10 system that the media team looks at.
Yeah.
If you want to also, Bryson, maybe just show them a little bit about a person's profile.
Oh yeah,
and just
sure.
show them
I'll show you my
the
profile.
video
We'll go to mine.
as well.
We'll go to mine. If you ever want to look up a clip that you recorded and you can't find it above the chat box, this is another way to do it. As you're looking at my profile here, you can go to Xbox and go down to latest media, view all if it's not appearing here. As you see, a lot of hockey, Smite, FIFA, some FIFA, Gears of War. You can actually filter it by games that are coming up, all right here. So let's say we're on FIFA, so let's do FIFA, and you can either set it as clip or screenshot. Obviously, we want clip, what we're talking about, and here's all the media right here. Same thing as like when I clicked on Mac's video, it'll pop up. You can give it a rating. That's all you got to do. Simple as that. And if you just added a piece of media, you just refresh it, and this is why we require you to link your Xbox account so these things are available for you guys.
All right.
That's
awesome.
Yep.
We have a question from Pat Rooney, and this is more for you guys since you're on the staff and you know the Bogs and stuff. Biggest goals for this season from the Bogs and other league staff members.
Yeah, repeat that question. I'm sorry. I was Dusan is distracting me.
Oh yeah, don't worry. He's sewing machines distracting the chat too. It's biggest goals for this season from the Bogs and other league staff members. Thank you, Pat Rooney, for that question.
That's an excellent question because I'm sure some people saw Smoke's comments about the inactivity of staff. Lake has made the comments before, and even though initially I'm kind of like, hey, screw you, you know what? They're right. Our staff was very absent last season. Including myself at times. But there were times I felt I needed to step back, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into a long story, but staff was absent last season. It was unexcusable and needed to be changed. And I think from commissioner staff to Boggs to PA, we have active members of the community that are all going to do a good part here. Pitt and his PA reps that he's assigned recently are working with the TC. Our Bogs are guys that you may not see very often. They're the site guys. They do the site work, the trades, the complaints. And then myself and Simbai are the deputy commissioners. We are... Simbai's not the face. He's terrible. But I'm always making myself available. I'm trying to make sure I'm more available. One thing last season that I was at fault for was I was an LGHL owner. And I would prioritize that because it was a commitment I made and I wanted to fulfill it. I dropped LGHL owner. I'm no longer doing it. I quit my 5-season streak. I'm done being an owner there. So as I'm sure some of you have seen that were here last season, I'm so much more active. I'm always checking the site. I'm always checking the chat box and seeing if anybody needs anything. I'm always around. So as far as activity and being... I guess I'm reiterating myself. Just being active on the website. This staff is going to do so many great things for the league this season.
Right.
I want to add in there as well. I know it's not really in my role for me to be a part of, but I have seen already again the Bogs and yourself, deputies. Be there for the owners and for the GMs to answer their questions, to assist them in figuring out how things work or how to do certain things. And their response has been very thankful and grateful for it.
Yeah, I agree. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this as easy and as fun for all of you guys that sign up here. Any more questions?
We have one more, and it's from Fig, and he says, "How can I become commissioner?"
Well, it's got to take someone that knows what they're doing, and you don't. Next question.
Um, all right. Yeah, he's telling me to ask, how do I take Bryson's job? That's awesome. Pat Rooney, for the question we just answered about the biggest goals, he said, "Good to hear. Been playing since season 2, and hope this is the real breakthrough season."
Me too. That's all I can say. Is I hope that as well.
Oh God, that's a good question.
Well, yeah, it is a good question. And as a commissioner, and I know people don't want to hear this, but I feel as though this season, with dropping any other commitments I've had, and not only bringing us a media team, but a competent staff and guys that are going to put in work and be active on the website, that the only way we fail is if other people fail us, if owners quit. It's just like we said with getting our sign-up numbers in. It all falls in the hands of the community. Just
Right.
like the hockey league, they have 3,000 members because it's a community. Has nothing to do with Brody as a commissioner. However, I will give Brody credit where it's due. He's an excellent commissioner, but it all comes down to the community. Those 3,000 can any day say, "Screw you, I'm going to another website," and it could happen. It could happen whenever they feel like it. So that's why we do our job to make sure we keep you guys here and want you guys here, but it also entitles you guys to do your part as well and to make this all work.
All right. Yeah, man. So Pat, again, thank you for that question. Steven wants to know is if the league is sponsored by Kathy Griffin. That's a great question. And then we have a question from Anthony Clark, and he says, "This isn't a knock on the staff, but an observation in general. Why is everyone in every video game league late for games? Is that just a video game thing?" From Dupe Army Zolo, and he says, "Thanks for answering this question."
He wants to know why people are late for a video game.
Yeah, he's asking. He's asking why are people late for league games, and is this just like a video game thing?
No knock against anyone that's watching the show right now. It's a FIFA league thing, and from running a hockey league, being in the hockey league for 5 seasons, and I've done plenty of FIFA ownership, so I know both sides, what they're like. We're just lazy here in the FIFA league. I mean, don't be upset with our staff last season, but it was probably just our laziness in us that is the FIFA community. I don't know. It's just some people. Here's the issue: is that some people think I'll get on 2 minutes of boot my game up, come jump in. What some people don't take into account for: oh, I'm not in the right club. Oh, my game won't start. Oh, I got to hard reset my Xbox. There's so many factors that come into play with the Xbox One rather than the 360. The 360, I think a lot of us can agree that started up when you started it up, and you normally could have a set time when to be on and be there on time. There's a lot of things that can happen with the Xbox Ones, unfortunately. Even though they're good systems, there's a lot of downfalls to them that can delay games. The only thing I can say is to that question is owners, and I believe they will do their best to make sure their guys are there on time. One change we made this season, one big change we made into this season from last, is that game time's only 40 minutes apart. So if we're not following our constitution and getting our games in according to the timeline, we're going to see some problems, and owners are going to be held accountable for it. So I do believe that our core of owners are going to do a good job of making sure their guys are there on time, and hopefully we don't see games waited out too long.
All right. Wow, man, we're seeing this is a lot of activity.
Something I'll add in there as well is we are talking about 11 people on each team and whatnot. Sometimes there's some
And not
complications.
6. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Absolutely.
And sometimes you find out somebody's not coming. Okay, so let's get a replacement in here, and we got to get in touch with them, got to get them online, and all of this good stuff.
And
but we try and minimize that as much as possible.
And that is what it makes a good owner from a bad owner, is being prepared. Players that are listening, be good to your owners. I mentioned it earlier in the show that help your owners as much as you can. If you have any doubt that you have plans, hey man, trust me, real life comes before anything else. I love this league. A lot of the guys that play in here, everyone agrees they love this league. That's why we're all here. But real life is more important. If you have any doubt that something's going to happen, notify your owner. That way your owner can go and start messaging people and say, hey, I might need you tonight, or just say to the player, hey, you know what? I'm just not going to play you tonight in case something does happen. Be prepared. Have a game plan in case something is going to come up. Obviously, right. Unexpected events do occur and are unfortunate, but I'm sure other owners around the league are understanding if those events do happen. And that's why we're a league that says you can have 7 players as long as you have an NE and a goalie to play a game. So don't ever set your lineup with 7 people. I can tell you right now, if you do that, bottomless pit's going to be on your ass. So make sure you're scheduling 11 people. But if it happens to where one guy doesn't show, you can play with 10 people. So,
right.
One player being absent should never cause a game to delay too long.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. We have a couple more questions if we have the time for them, Bryson.
Absolutely, I'm here. I'll give
great.
you guys till 9:30. So let's get them through here.
All right, cool. Real quick, Scott McKay wants to know again. He's telling Scott to ask this: who do we have as GK for Golden Gloves, and who do we have for the Golden Boot? And also, he says Neymar was the best water we had on Montreal when Tebow and all my managers got banned.
Okay, so is his question asking predictions for this season or who was last season?
He's asking who do we have for, I'm guessing this season. Yeah, this season, who do we have for Golden Gloves and who do we have for Golden Boot?
Interesting. Our 2 Golden Boot winners are already managers. Magic Johnny is on Man United with Python as a manager, and
okay.
McCullough, who tied with goals with him, they shared the Golden Boot last season, is an owner. I'd like to expect the same result from those 2. If I'm being completely honest, Johnny is a guy I've played with before. I've seen him play before, and I was surprised. Johnny took me by surprise. I think Man United took the league by surprise. I don't think we expected that. We expected them to do well because Python is a good owner, and he's been around LG for a while and plans to stay here for a while. I love the guy. He's a great guy. Awesome Brit. But the team really killed the competition and just took advantage of everyone else's problems and excelled. That's where an example of Python, sure, he had Bottleface. That obviously helps. He had Smoke. He had some good players, but he didn't have a star-studded team. He had a team that showed up and did their job, and it paid off with a league title.
Right.
So as far as Golden Boot predictions, I would like to think those 2 guys might be back, but I think a Golden Boot's going to be won through the managers. I think you see a lot of very good forwards that are already taking management.
Right.
I mentioned some veterans before earlier in the show. As far as Golden Gloves, it's up in the air with the goalies I mentioned. I mean, the prices are going to show. I'll reset here of who your Golden Glove winners may be already.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that Bottleface is racking up a big bid.
I'm scared to look. Well, 7.5. It's safe.
You're pretty safe bets with the prices that people are going for and whatnot. They're pretty much I won't say spot on, but they're not that far off of what the results are like. Oftentimes,
if you want my opinion, who the Golden Glove's going to be, just ask the owners because it's already the top 5 bids right now are guys that have had success here as well. Any more questions?
Let's see. We got some more questions. Oh yeah, from Rune44, who's Pat Rooney on YouTube, but his gamer tag is Rune44. Okay. He said to add on to the lateness issue that Anthony brought up. Maybe we can force starting times like they do in hockey.
We do. It's in our constitution to start at a certain time. the only reason why it might not be enforced is, hey, when you take a forfeit, it's frowned upon because we all work hard. We all, from me putting in the schedule into the website, from Tris running the website, from Pitt running the Players Association, from everybody doing their job and everything coming together to only result in a forfeit is just it's such an ugly thing. It's not what we do. It's not what we want to see, and majority of the owners, it's not what they want to see either. So instead of saying, okay, 9:15, you're done, we're taking the forfeit. What I will say is be lenient, and I think our owners have done that in the past. You've seen a lot of guys, see teams are struggling and just sent their TC players there to help them out. It was a very bright, promising part of our season last season where other teams were helping other teams out to make sure they could field an 11. I will say, like I mentioned earlier, that now that we're only 40 minutes apart, you probably should start your game according to our constitution, or you're going to start running into late games into your second game. And if that second owner wants to be that guy, he could take the forfeit because you didn't start your game on time.
It's also in our constitution to allow for rescheduling and whatnot. So it is also there is some leniency and there is some flexibility within reason. If we see it happening consistently, we're not going to let that happen.
Absolutely, I agree. Yep.
All right. As far as any other questions, best person named Boston LG. Well, obviously that's you, General Boss. You should know this by now. Who's gonna get the golden slide tackle? Not a real thing, but I'm gonna say any defender that goes over 500K. Question: Can you? Nope, that's freaking sewing machine. Why was the management of Sunderland allowed to be manager and owner? And real quick before, if that's a question you want to answer, Bryson, Rune says, I agree totally. I was just saying, and I totally feel like it has to be situational. I'm always for reschedules and things in that manner.
Awesome. Back to the question with Sunderland.
Yeah.
Okay. I was warned, by players of the community, saying, hey, don't give this guy a chance. Listen, we're a new community. I'm all for one thing I made clear when I took commissioner is any of your wrongdoings in the past, minus King Joffrey, everyone knows why for him, got a clean slate. Everyone got a free entry. If someone came to me before last season and said, can I have my ban removed? I removed it, no questions asked, because I wanted everyone to have a restart here on LGFA. With that being said, I give everyone a fair opportunity. Just like some of the owners we saw last season drop out, that were expected to drop out and still did anyways. I had faith in them, and I probably had too much faith in them. Samatar came to me, wanted ownership. He was fairly active. He ran some scouting, but just, didn't do what he was supposed to do and just didn't know how to handle himself. That was the unfortunate thing. He definitely had the motivation. Maybe it was just because of he was young. He just didn't have the patience for it, and it I'll tell you, it gives you some gray hairs dealing with some of the people that you have to deal with. So, fortunately, Samatar messaged me and said, this isn't for me. Knowingly, he took the 2-season ban, and it's a good thing his managers under him were more than happy to take over the team and make sure that we had a 14th team. So why it was given to him is because I give everyone an opportunity that wants it here and gives me a reason to trust them. And Samatar gave me a reason to trust him, and it backfired. I will always make bad decisions, always, because I always want to take chances in order for this league to succeed.
And now I want to circle back in here to the TC games again, because if you're curious about management or ownership and whatnot, the TC games is a great place to feel it out. You can come in, you can take the captain spot and basically choose a formation, If you got guys who you feel you play better with that are on the TC and whatnot, by all means, play the same line again if that works, right? We'll get another team to play against you who's mixed up. If that gives you a better chance at getting a roster spot and showing off your stuff, I'm all for it. And that will help as well in terms of developing management as well.
Yeah, it's definitely the TC. Not only is a point to keep people active and interested, and to play league games, but it's also a stepping stone for those that want to advance into ownership. So,
All right. What else do we have? No sewing machine. I'm not gonna ask this man a bunch of questions for you
him
that
and I are
are
talking.
not relevant. There you go.
Sewing the Machine to talk to me on Facebook.
There you go. Yeah, talk to him on Facebook. Dusan. What else do we have here? We've answered the management of Sunderland. Dusan has explained to the people what happened with Joffrey. That was another question, but he's pretty much just putting that out in the chat, so that's you don't have to answer that. I have no other questions from the community, so I'll propose a question for every single one of us. Bryson, Pitt,
Yes.
who do we expect at the top of the table end of season, and who do you expect lower bottom of the table by end of the season? In terms of like how people, what management do you expect to be high up, and what management do you think is not really gonna set their expectation bar? They're not gonna fill it, and they're probably gonna drop.
Well, as far as expectations of an owner goes, one question I ask every owner, and I'm going to reveal this secret answer I look for, and actually this dates back to a admin of a website that I was a part of
Right.
about 2 years ago. He always told me to look for this answer, and it was a very good question to ask and a very good answer to look for. And Boss was the one that answered this perfectly, and this is why I liked him so much, was that I asked him, what do you think it takes to be a successful owner? Most people would go off and say, be top of the league, to win games. No. To be a successful owner is to field 11, compete, and not forfeit, not cause problems, and be a team that everyone can say, yeah, that's a good group of guys. You know what I mean? Like, do good things for the community. That's what I think is success goes from a commissioner's standpoint.
Right.
You're asking about it as far as the tables go. I think everyone can agree that our returning owners are favored, not just because of the benefits of being a returning owner, but because of their experience. That goes with D Stokes, Python. Soccer SM will do well due to his managers underneath him. Dusan will do well. All those guys that are within the community and understand who everyone is and understands how the game is to be played, I think is what's crucial, and I think those guys are going to benefit off of it. But again, a guy like Boss probably has some tricks up his sleeves and some of his friends he's bringing in. Who knows what that could do for his team as well.
Right.
At the risk of ruffling a few feathers, I'm going to say that McKay for me is always the roll of the dice. He's a great guy. He knows what he's doing. He has a lot of fun, and everybody who plays with him always has fun. I know that there's differences in opinion sometimes with how he does things, and for me, that's the reason why he's kind of roll of the dice. He was my first GM when I was owner, back in, I don't know, season 2 or something like that. So trust me, I don't think he's incapable or anything like that. But like I said, for me, he's a roll of the dice.
I agree, McKay.
Right.
McKay, whether it's top of the standing, bottom standing, middle table, McKay will make sure that he has an active team and a fielding 11 every game.
Yeah. And with that, no other questions from the community.
All right. Well, looks like we can wrap the show up here. We ran on for 2 hours, and
Wow.
It was a fun 2 hours. I enjoyed it, guys. This was great.
Yeah.
Granted, I have mentioned that I'm going to do my own show, but we could do another stream like this.
Yeah, definitely.
Take questions from the community. This was good. I enjoyed this, and bidding is definitely taking off here, folks. As we see, I believe Bottleface is our highest priced player right now at 7,750,000.
Yeah. Actually, wait a minute. Said 750.
Oh no, Nino is.
Should
10
Nino
mil.
be riding him?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Nino's.
I was gonna say.
Well, here's the issue: is that I don't. That's kind of irrelevant. He's only halfway to what he's expected. So,
Right.
keep the bids coming. Nino should be roughly around 20 million. So, just
Yeah.
kidding again. Please don't take me serious. I gotta throw that disclaimer in. But no, I had fun, guys. This was a great show. Out of all the shows I've done, I really enjoyed this one. So,
Yep. A lot of fun.
yeah, Pitt. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, respect. Great job taking the questions, and guys, I think the flow was good, and it was a great show. I'm happy that we had a lot of guys tune in for this. This was a good time, and
Yeah.
we'll definitely do another live stream. I enjoyed this. We'll think of something to live stream. We'll live stream. Man, we'll live stream Sewing Machine playing some seasons or something. Something to laugh at. Who knows?
There you go.
So anyways, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Good luck to all the managers in bidding, and good luck to all the players for this upcoming season of LGFA. Season 6 is underway with bidding. Good luck to everyone, and we'll see you around.